Well, our second briefing today, and with me now, of course, the Chief Minister. You've got two items that you'd like to tell us about, and one is addressing the city, the city in London we're talking about here. How is the Isle of Man viewed? I mean, that's, I suppose, the thing when you go down there. Are you greeted warmly, or are you seen as the tax haven or the people who are robbing us of money? How's it go these days?
Oh, I think the biggest problem we've got, frankly, is the lack of visibility of the island in London. There's a lack of awareness of what the Isle of Man has to offer. We think, of course, that the whole world knows about us. But in the hard-headed business world of the City of London, they are focused on long-established business relationships, often with other jurisdictions. And therefore, we have to work very, very hard now to raise the profile in whatever method we can to introduce them to the services that the Isle of Man can offer. So it's by and large, it's been a very positive engagement, but it's based mainly on the lack of any awareness of the Isle of Man, not a hostility.
Isle of Man Fund Managers Association put this one on. I mean, this is still an important part of our business?
Yes, the Funds Association has had a major promotional push in London now for, I think, the last 4 or 5 years. And I think it was fair to say that the event they had this week was probably the most successful they've had yet. There were 170 attendees from the city. There were a good number of people from the Isle of Man down as well to network and build relationships with these people. And I think the overall response I had at the end of the meeting was a very positive one, and already new links have been made, and there's already talk of new business coming here. So I think given the fact that we are in a very competitive situation economically these days, it was a good step forward.
A lot of talk about FATCA there?
People are obviously aware of FATCA. It's progressing. The Isle of Man has made a commitment at this stage to talk to the United States alongside with Jersey and Guernsey, and those talks are continuing now to identify the mechanics of how FATCA will work. We also have to be aware, of course, that a US FATCA, which is in effect automatic exchange of information, may lead on to demands from other countries for similar facilities, particularly the European Union at the moment. So this might just be the start of a much longer dialogue which is about to undertake.
Did you pick up the phone and congratulate the President, by the way?
I haven't been in touch with President Obama just yet. I think he's probably a little bit busy at present, but I think his re-election, or at least the election of a new president, will bring to an end a period of uncertainty in the United States. There are some massive challenges for the US government at the moment, and now hopefully they can focus on that, and that might bring some stability back into the world financial market. So just to have the end of that election period has got to be beneficial.
I have to say, I got a lot of feedback from our interview last week about the FATCA thing. These are businessmen who are going, wow, we could be in trouble. Not just us, I mean, Jersey, Guernsey, you name it, anywhere where this is really starting to potentially be huge.
It is. It has the potential to be a real game changer in our relations with the international community. As you say, it's a crown dependency, and indeed beyond that, it will be the overseas territories as well. There is a fierce debate going on now about tax planning, about the location of where companies pay tax, the level of tax they pay, the morality of tax planning. This has been building up head of steam now for quite some time, but it is quite clear, and certainly talking to politicians in London again this week, it is quite clear this agenda is here to stay. We're not going to go back to where we were before. So we have to start to make preparations for living in a new world, and the exchange of information will be one of those new conditions, I think.
The Isle of Man has actually been kept out of most of the spotlight with offshore tax deals. I'm talking about the Jersey particularly, and Guernsey's been dragged into this.
Yeah.
How clean is the Isle of Man, would you say? I mean, do you know that these things go on here, or are we not bothered with
Well, you know, the Isle of Man has been in financial services now for probably some 40 years. It's impossible to tell what sort of business in the past may have gone through the island. I have to admit that. But what I can say is that the government has tried very hard, especially over the last 10 years, to improve the quality of oversight, of regulation, of control, of transparency, and to do our best to meet international applied standards. we've been recognised by a number of bodies, the OECD, the IMF and various others, G20, and been placed on whitelists as a result of that. So we're doing all we possibly can at the moment to prevent the abuse of our system. But that's not to say there may not be rogue elements that on occasions will slip through, as they will in any jurisdiction, including the United Kingdom.
I mean, you've been away 3 days this week. Is this constantly now your job to bang the drum?
It's a very important part of the Chief Minister's role, is to promote the Isle of Man's image off Ireland, to engage with politicians elsewhere. This is a very volatile period for international diplomacy, I think. It is vital that the Isle of Man's message is heard in as many areas as possible.
I mean, you're doing the FT supplement. Is that one of those little advertorial things? You have to pay for that sort of thing?
It is paid for, not necessarily by the government. It's often covered by local advertising, which goes in as well. But although it's paid for, it isn't actually an advertorial. The FT retains absolute editorial control of this article, so it's a very objective article when it does come out, and has in the past been critical as well as supportive of some of the areas that we have been promoting. So it's a balanced publication, and one which I think has a great deal of respect in the business circles we want to engage with.
And that's out Thursday the 15th?
That's out Thursday, yes.
You're also getting to webcasting?
Yes. Yes.
Like this, but bigger?
Well, I think they've probably learned from the experience of the Paul Moulton television show and have started to build on that. But again, this is a continuation of the promotion that we have. It's another new angle. We've got to be aware and use every possible outlet through the new media which is developing to raise awareness of the island. This is just one more step, and I hope it'll be a positive one.
And people can see this where and when?
It goes out on Thursday, the 5th.
The same day as the FT?
Same day, yes. Yeah.
And you'll be taking part with other people in the...
No, I'm not engaged in this one. This is a business-to-business discussion, so it will be not necessarily a political webcast. This is very much a business-focused one, so it'll come at the promotion from a slightly different angle.
Thanks so much indeed for joining us again this week.
My pleasure.